Yeah, welcome to Open Topics, Martial Arts Edition. I'm your host, Don Armando. So, I actually have this special segment of Open Topics, which is dedicated to the martial artist. And I would like to actually talk about the philosophies as such. Well, I like to talk about the philosophy and such. And sometimes we have a lot of martial arts experts that actually been on the panel. So my show is actually welcome to anybody who's an expert in any of the martial arts worldwide. And I would like to hear from the masters or experts themselves on how they view their martial arts as such. So that's what one part of the segment of the open topics with Don Armando Martial Arts Edition is about. Because within my life, I'm not going to go, I did take the martial arts when I was young, but I didn't get to the rank of black belt. So my thing is that now that that I have a platform and everything like that, maybe it's for myself, but I would like to actually have for anybody that wants to take the martial arts, the do's, the don'ts, and what to look out for when you actually learn the martial arts. So that's why I have experts here, so therefore we can talk about the philosophical aspects and the self-defense aspect of it also. Good evening, bro.
Oh, what's going on, dude?
I'm chilling. How's everything?
Oh man, dude, it's been so long,
I know, man. I mean, like, shoot, it's been
brother.
like
Man,
years.
brother,
So how's everything?
it's been close to I think like 13, 14 years, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot has happened within that
Yeah,
time
man.
frame.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, dude. What's going on, brother?
I'm chilling. I'm just Well, I work. Well, now me and my wife we're actually homeowners since
Nice.
last year,
Yeah, yeah,
and you know, as you know, as soon as I left Universal Survey,
yeah.
yes. Well, like in 2013, my mom passed away.
Oh,
And then in 2019, my dad passed away.
oh
And
man, I'm
then
sorry to hear that, man.
yeah, but yeah, when my mom passed, it hit me a lot rough. And I know during the same time, Mike, I know that he lost a relative as well.
Yeah,
So the last time I saw Mike, I could actually say that I could actually say this on video. Me and him,
yeah.
we both had long hair the last time we saw each other, and that was up
Wow,
on 42nd Street.
wow.
So, and me and Kurt, we still talk often,
Yeah.
and as you know, Keith Fuller, may he rest in peace. I actually got
No. Oh, Keith. Oh, yeah, Keith. Yeah, Keith. I thought you were talking
yeah,
about the CEO. No, our
nah,
Keith. Our Keith. Yeah, I
yeah.
got you, man.
Yeah,
Nice.
when I found out that he passed away, I came late to the funeral, but
Wow.
nobody was there, so I paid my respects and I bounced. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, I was devastated when he passed away, man. That was one of the nicest dudes I ever met in my life.
I mean yeah, because him I actually give it up to him and Curtis because me and Curtis we still talk. He was actually at my wedding in 2021.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice, man.
yeah.
Man.
So, and I know that you and I we've talked in the past about you being in the martial arts.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Tate, I want to know. I want to talk about the martial arts first. So,
Sure.
how long have you been a practitioner of Taekwondo? And are you and do you know any other martial arts? I'm just asking because I do my own research. And I know
Yeah.
that there's Hapkido, Kuk Wan, and
Mhm.
I think that there's another one that I guess was a martial art, which a lot of people do not know, which is called Taekyon,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was
yeah. That's old school.
yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I did taekwondo for let me see, I'm 36 now. Yeah, so I did it for about 31 years now.
All right.
Yeah, I've been doing taekwondo for 31 years. I started when I was like 5, and then I got it. I started competing when I was like 6, 7 years old, and then I kept on competing until I was around. Actually, you know what? We got to subtract 4 years off because we got to subtract about 2 years off. So maybe 29 years because I took a break for about 2 to 3 years when I was in the army.
All right.
So I competed pretty heavily until I was 18.
Okay.
I was very deep into the USA Taekwondo competition. Back then they didn't call it USA Taekwondo. Back then they called it the USTU, and it was a massive organization spanning the size of the United States. And they used to conduct all sorts of tournaments in those, and I used to attend those all the time. And yeah, I took a break when I got into the army. And then I started up again after Universal, right? So after I got out of the army, I didn't want to pick up guns and all that nonsense anymore. I became disillusioned with Uncle Sam, and I became a little bit. And I also I also had a girlfriend that I was living with at that time. So, my mind started drifting off into different places. And, I left, after I left the military, it was hard for me to find a job because, I really didn't imagine myself doing anything other than, being in the army and stuff. So I went back into martial arts, I went back into Taekwondo. As for other martial arts, I've done wrestling. I
All right.
wrestled. I wrestled for about 4 years in high school, if that
That's
counts.
good.
That was when I was really young, when I was a kid. But I used to love competing in wrestling too. In fact, I loved wrestling so much. But unfortunately, halfway through my high school years, I had to focus on one. It was either wrestling or Taekwondo, right? I couldn't focus on both because, I was also trying to, keep my grades up and, get my diploma and get through high school and all that stuff. So, I had to choose one. Unfortunately, it was very hard for me to come back home, do wrestling practice for 2.5, 3 hours, and then go to Taekwondo for another 2.5, 3 hours. And then I come back home, it's already like 9, 10 o'clock and I can't really study or anything like that. So, you know,
Right.
uh, I decided that I had to focus fire on one, and I couldn't do both. So I ended up choosing Taekwondo, just because, that's my heritage. And truth be told, I was a little bit better at Taekwondo. I was a lot better at Taekwondo than I was at wrestling. At wrestling, I was average, maybe a little bit above average. I was above average at wrestling, but at Taekwondo, I excelled. So, yeah, that's my experience, brother.
Yeah, I took Taekwondo when I was a kid, but then that's when I was living down south. But then when I came to the United States, I didn't really pick it up again.
Yeah.
So even though I'm 41 years old, I'm like, okay, I don't know which martial arts I'm going to do because I have so much responsibilities on the table. But I would love to learn the martial arts again.
Mm.
I just don't know which one. And then on top of it, there's a show which is on YouTube, which is called McDojo Life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
and
that's
McDo
true.
and McDojo Life, right? The
Hmm.
guy, the guy who actually is the host has been a practitioner of the martial arts for at least 20 something years.
Yeah.
And he actually talks about, and he actually has a scale called the Dillman scale, because you
Hmm.
know that there's a lot of martial artists, or quote unquote martial artists, that make the whole martial arts look bad, or make
Yeah.
it seem that it's fake and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So my thing is that I want to know the philosophical aspect of it.
Hmm.
And I was talking to another martial artist like around the same time, and we were talking about like what to look out for when
Right.
when you go to a dojo, or I forgot in Korean,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. I'm Korean,
I
brother.
hear, yeah, no, but there's a word that they call, it's like, all right, in Chinese, right?
Yeah.
They call in kung fu, they call it a kun, right? And in Japan they call it a dojo.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot the Korean name for
The
what they
Korean is
call
called
kun.
dojang. It's called dojang.
Dojang.
Yeah,
Okay.
dojang. Yep.
Yeah.
Um.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So my thing is that, okay, for anybody who wants to learn the martial arts or anything of that matter, I would like to I like to talk to the experts and
Yeah.
people that know, that been through the process and everything like that, and might know
Yes,
the
sir.
lineage and stuff. What is the thing to look out for to spot if that place is a Mac Dojo or not?
Well, honestly, like, um, all right. Let me without getting make try. I'm gonna try to make this as simple as possible.
All right.
Um. So what people have to understand, everybody has to understand, is that there is a martial arts aspect to every martial arts school, but that there is also a business aspect to every martial arts school, right?
All
Because
right.
After all, we live in the United States, right? We all have to make money to make ends meet and survive and feed ourselves and feed our children or feed our wives and, you know, do all these things, right? To drive nice cars and, buy nice houses and, walk around in decent clothes without looking like an idiot. You have to, you have to make money, right? So, what people need to understand is that the reason why McDojos exist in the first place is not because people are trying to look cool and just teach fake stuff or scam somebody, but it's
Right.
mainly because they have to operate a business, right? Every
Right.
martial arts school is not just a martial arts school, right? Like these guys that open up kung fu schools or karate schools or Muay Thai schools or BJJ schools or whatever, none of them are doing it for, kicks and giggles, right? They're doing it because they need to make ends meet, they need to live, they need to feed themselves and their families, right? And
Right.
they have these financial goals in mind, right? So that's the first thing that people need to understand about every martial arts school is that martial arts is not like a religion, right? Like churches, when you go to a church, you don't expect to pay anything, right? But when you go into martial
Right.
arts, you got to expect to pay something because again, it's a business. And to readily identify a McDojo versus a school that's not a McDojo, it's really hard to say because there's no clear definition of what a McDojo is. But I will tell you this. I will tell you this. I will tell you that if the school that you're about to enroll in is asking you to enroll, with contracts for like 2 times a week, 45 minutes per practice, or 3 times a week, 45 minutes a training session, then you are not going to get the full experience. Now, that doesn't mean that that school is a McDojo. It just
All
means,
right.
yeah, it just means that you're not going to get the full martial arts experience because, again, why is that school making it where classes are only 45 minutes long and you're paying $300 for twice a week, 3 times a week? Well, that's because um, in a business perspective, it doesn't make sense to have classes that run 2 to 3 hours a day, multiple times a week, right? It doesn't make sense to, because how are you going to make a customer base? Most people are not capable of making that kind of commitment. So if most people are
All
not
right.
capable of making that kind of commitment, well, then where the heck are you going to make your money? Because nobody's going to commit to your school. So
Right.
what these school owners have to do is they have to condense the amount of time they actually spend teaching you.
All
They
right.
have to make more schedule availability,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have to think about costs, right? Keeping the lights on, the rent, all that crap. And then they have to think about, they got to think about all these operational costs as they are running their school. So,
Right.
that's like those are some of the first things right off the bat that people need to understand about martial arts schools is that martial arts schools are there to make money. They're not
Right.
there to just show you how to, be Mr. Miyagi and do all that stuff, right? That's the other stuff, right? However, if you are going to a school that only offers that kind of program and doesn't have any kind of hardcore sort of option to it,
Mm-hmm.
and you're wanting to learn real martial arts, like how to act, like the sort of the hardcore higher levels of that specific martial art, then I would find a different school. You understand what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're just trying to dabble and have fun and like, get a black belt and, sort of just kind of enjoy the martial arts experience, then yeah, honestly, even McDojos are totally fine. That because at the end of the day, martial arts schools are more than just martial arts, right? They're for self improvement and they're also for community, right? A lot of people don't understand that a lot of a martial arts school is about being a part of a community, right? You have friends
All right.
there, right? You have brothers and sisters there that you fall in love with, and that they become your bros and your sisters for life, and you guys look out for each other and you help each other in hard times, and that's another part of the martial arts school. So remember that you're not just going to martial arts just so you can learn how to kick somebody's ass, right? Like
Right.
that's not conducive to what what you're supposed to be doing as a martial artist, unless you're trying to be a competitor. Like I said, if you want a hardcore martial arts experience, like you want to be the Karate Kid, you want to be freaking Jet Li, you want to be freaking Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov and all those, you want to be like them, then you got to go to a martial arts school that's going to have that option to allow you to train 2 to 3 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. Because let's be honest, martial arts is just like any other sport, right? If you played football, did you ever, what kind of sports did you play in high school? Did you ever play football or anything like that?
Well, I actually played a little bit of basketball, but I was not really in the official team. I just played with my homies,
All right. So
but
let's
that
go
was
with
it. But
basketball, right? All the kids
right,
on your block, all the kids in your neighborhood that were so good at basketball, they didn't train no basketball for 2 to 3 times a week for 45 minutes a day. Dude, those guys that are,
exactly.
yeah, those guys that are mad good at basketball, what do? They train every day. They train 2, 3, 4 hours, 5 hours. Some guys like, at the highest levels, like Kobe and those guys, LeBron and, all those amazing best Stephen Curry. Dude, those guys, they train for 6, 7 hours a day. It's literally their professional life, right? So,
Right.
if you want that kind of experience, you got to find a school that has that option,
All right.
right? But if your school is a school that's only giving you the 45-minute 2 times a week, 3 times a week, and they're only giving you that option,
Hmm.
then I'm not saying that that's a bad school, because again, business is a very important facet of what all of us do. All of us martial arts teachers, business is an important factor of what we do because we have to make our ends meet.
Right.
So I'm not going to call those a bad school. I'm not going to call them McDojos, but
Hmm.
those schools are not going to teach you the serious stuff. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's definitely schools out there that'll give you that more hardcore experience, and that'll teach you sort of the ins and outs of the highest levels of that art. And unfortunately, you're right. There are a lot of schools right now that are condensing their teachings and sort of watering down, and just sort of their belt factories, pretty much, right? Where you just pay money,
Yeah.
you take a test, and you get the next belt, and then you keep working your way up to black belt, and within a couple of years, you're a black belt, right? Yeah, I know. Like those kind of schools, yeah, it's true. Those kind of schools are kind of useless at teaching you the highest, like the advanced stuff. But
Right.
again, remember what I said. It's not just about that. It's also about business. It's also about community, and it's also about self-improvement. And
All right.
business, community, and self-improvement, those three things don't require that you know how to do a 540 spinning hook kick in the air, or that you know how to fight three guys at once. You know what I mean? Like those kind of things,
Yeah.
you don't need that kind of training to receive those kind of things, right? But
Hmm.
it really depends on what you want out of the martial art, right? If you're a guy
All
that
right.
wants to go to competitions and fight people from all over the country, all over the world, and you want to become the best of the best, and you want to make money out of this, then you need to find that
Yes.
hard. Then you need to find a school that's going to train you every day. That's willing. That's going. And you also got to be ready to pay a lot of money for that, right? Like, it's going to be very difficult to find, schools that where you're not really paying much, but you're training almost every day, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna find schools like that, right? Most of the schools that you
Right.
find out there, it doesn't matter which martial art. Most of the schools that you find out there are going to be schools that they only teach you 2 to 3 times a week, and for like an hour, and you're paying like $200
Right.
out of your pocket per month. So
Exactly.
I hope that kind of answered your question about McDojos, brother. A lot of people have a false connotation about martial arts, I think, because it's gotten so commercial.
Yes.
And
I mean, yeah. That's why. That's one of the reasons I actually want to try to dispel that, because if you actually look at it, right,
yeah.
and I have a lot of curious. I got a lot of questions to ask because I'm curious. All right. So, all right. Since you're being a a Taekwondo expert and all, so in different associations, is the ranking system different or it's the same?
It
Because
is different. So like even the ranking system, right? What a lot of people, well, and I'm just talking only about Taekwondo. I don't know how it works in karate and jujitsu and stuff, but
Right.
just for Taekwondo, literally every Taekwondo school is going to have a different belt ranking system. Because why? Because you're not a legitimate, you're not put, like in Taekwondo in particular, once you become a black belt, your name gets put into a system in a headquarter in Korea,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Called the Kuki One. Yeah. So like it's like a legit thing. So your name doesn't get recorded into any system until you get that black belt. So that means that all those color belts that you have, that's really just unique to the school that you're attending. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So every school is going to have a different belt system, right? Like you could go to a school in Brooklyn and then you could go to
mhm.
a school in Queens. And then
Right.
both of those schools are going to have completely different color belt systems because it doesn't really matter until you hit that black belt.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's, I hope that kind of answers your questions on that.
All right. And another thing, and I don't know, and talking about Korea and the United States.
Yeah.
Or okay. So as a Taekwondo expert, did you only train in the United States or you trained in Korea as well?
I only trained in the United States, brother. So I immigrated to the United States when I was 2 years old. My family, my father and my mother, they came here when I was two. I grew
All
up in
right.
Texas,
Right.
and yeah, and I started Taekwondo down there in Dallas. But
Okay.
honestly, see, that's another thing that a lot of people gripe about. But like honestly, man, it doesn't really matter which I mean, of course, like training in Korea is going to give you, I guess, that more authentic experience or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that Korea's Taekwondo's entire business model was a model in which the art would spread across the entire globe, right?
Mm.
So, and considering Taekwondo has been around since like the 1940s, it's been a long time, right? It's been 80 years now
Yeah.
since, it's been a long time since Taekwondo has been around. So to call Taekwondo only a Korean martial art, I don't think that's the right way to caricature it, man. Taekwondo, yeah, that's like saying, oh, jujitsu is only Brazilian. No, man, everybody does jujitsu, and there's people right here in the United States that are mad good at jujitsu, right? Or that's like saying,
Right.
oh, judo is only Japanese, but some of the
All
best
right.
judo fighters in the world are not Japanese, right? So it's
Right.
really like it's just like hip hop, brother, man. Like I mean, I'm a huge fan of hip hop. I don't know if you are,
You know,
but
shut me. I am.
yeah, man, I'm a gigantic fan of hip hop, and like, dude, hip hop is the same way, right? Like, even though hip hop was made here in the United States, and it was made by a very excuse me for by a very specific demographic of people. Look at hip hop
Hmm.
now, though, man. It's everywhere, right? Everybody's doing hip hop.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what background you come from, or where you grew up, and whether you're rich or you're poor. None of that stuff matters. Everybody can do hip hop, and Taekwondo
Hmm.
is sort of in that same breath now, man. Taekwondo is
Oh.
most certainly in that same breath, dude. Anybody can do Taekwondo, and another thing I really love about Taekwondo in particular is that it's compatible with every religion, right? So like it doesn't matter if you're Buddhist or you're Christian or you're Jewish or you're Hindu, or it
Mm.
doesn't matter what religion you are, man. Like Taekwondo's philosophies and its like values that it teaches, it's compatible with any belief system. So
Mm.
because it's very general, So
Right.
that's another great thing about Taekwondo. But yeah, I mean, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sit here talking as if like Taekwondo is the best martial art. All the martial arts are great, man.
Right.
And I think I respect anybody that has the guts, and sort of the courage, to step onto a mat and subject themselves to difficult training and hardship, and to push their bodies and to test themselves and challenge themselves, and overcome
Yep.
failure and stuff like that. That's what martial arts is really all about. It's not about kicking ass. Kicking ass is, yeah, that can be a part of it, but I mean, you probably know better than me, brother. Growing up in New York, dude, man, kicking ass isn't all about knowing what you do with your hands, right? Kicking ass is
Right.
is about knowing what you could do with this. That's
Right.
actually kicking ass, right? That's kicking ass in the streets, right?
Hmm.
So, a lot
Yeah.
of people don't understand that about martial arts too. When people talk about martial arts, they think, oh, if this doesn't teach me how to kick everyone's ass, then this isn't an effective martial art. But that's not true, because it's not just about kicking people's ass. Because kicking ass is not a tournament, right? If somebody's coming after you, they're not going to come after you in the middle of the street and ask you to square up one on one, man. Like a lot of these people that are going to come after you, they're going to come after you when you least expect it,
Hmm.
right? And then they're going to sneak up on you when you're not even looking. And then all
Hmm.
of a sudden, blam, right? And that's how real life works. And that's not martial arts, man. Martial arts is different from that. It martial arts teaches us to prevent those kind of situations from occurring in your life to begin with. And
Right.
martial arts, the hands and feet part of martial arts, the grappling, the punching, the kicking, all that stuff is there to improve yourself. It's there for self improvement and as a last line of defense if you ever need to hurt somebody. But it's
Right.
not about just learning how to hurt people, man. Like a lot of people think that about martial arts these days, and they want to talk about how, oh no, this martial art is bullshit and that martial art is bullshit. And yeah, maybe they are, maybe they're not. That like kung fu is not very useful in the streets, depending on what style of kung fu you learn. Like most kung fu is actually not that useful in the streets. But again, the streets is not a kung fu match, right? The streets are not. It's not like you and this dude coming together and getting into a fight. Like that's not how the streets work, right? The streets are very
Right.
elusive, right? There, it's
Hmm.
deceptive, and the streets will swallow you up in all sorts of different ways, right? People will attack you.
Yes.
When people attack you, brother, they don't just attack you physically; they attack you verbally. They attack you
Hmm.
financially. They attack you with
Yep.
judgments. They attack you
Hmm.
with slandering. They attack you
Yep.
with all sorts of different things, not just, punches and kicks. So,
Right.
people that sort of narrow down their martial arts experience to just punching and kicking, they're missing the mark on martial arts, man. They're completely misunderstanding the actual purpose behind a lot of this.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that too because it's like, okay, I see certain people, right?
Hmm.
The braggadocious people, and there's
Yes.
like, yeah, I take MMA and I take all this stuff. I'm like, okay, so if you're taking, and I'm just saying, like, from people that I know who are expert martial artists or who actually study the martial arts, I know that most of the time they're not going to be the ones that actually talk about what they do because they keep it to themselves. They're not braggadocious.
That's right.
And then most of the people that I've actually talked to, they're very humble. They tell you like, yeah, I do practice in this art, but they're not to the point that I'm like, yeah, I'm the tough guy or anything like that. You could tell that
Yeah.
they're physically active and everything like that. But most of them like you and another friend that might be coming up on the panel also. He's an expert in another martial arts, karate.
Sweet, man.
Um, and he's how should I say, like from my interactions with you and him, you're most humble people that I've actually spoken to,
Oh man,
and
no,
that I
thank you,
actually
man. You're
know.
too kind, brother.
Me personally, I'm going to tell you like this. When we was working up in Universal Survey and everything like that,
Yeah.
I could actually say that you was one of the most humble supervisors ever. It was between you, um, Keith, may he rest in peace.
Keith
Uh,
is amazing.
um, even though I didn't get along with this guy Gideon, but I heard that he passed. So may he rest in
No,
peace.
Gideon
So
passed.
I heard that. I'm not sure, but this is what I heard.
Oh,
And I don't know if it's true or not because somebody went up and told me, one of my former coworkers. It was
that's
like,
terrible, man.
because this is what happened. Maybe you might have been there. What happened? there was a time that they said that Gideon got jumped, right?
Yeah, I remember that. That I do remember.
Right. So when Gideon got jumped, right,
Yeah.
it looked like they, I guess he went to the hospital and so forth,
Hmm.
and they found out that he had cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And then when I heard, and then someone told me like that, me and Gideon, we didn't get along, but I'm not going to go around and wish bad on the person. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you,
I
man.
heard I heard that I heard he passed from cancer. I was like,
Oh,
dang,
God bless his soul.
God bless his soul too. And talking about passing, in 2021, one of my coworkers, you might have known her, Ebony Hudson.
I can't say I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, I'll
Even though I
show
do
you a
remember the
picture.
last name Hudson. I remember that. But
Yeah, yeah. Well, she passed away from COVID in 2021. She was
oh,
supposed to come to my wedding, but then that
oh.
happened.
Hey, I'm sorry, man. I think
Yeah,
you're cutting off a little bit.
yeah. It was something that was up. I was like, okay, what's happening? All right.
Yeah.
So do you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, I hear you now.
All right. Yeah, because what happened was is that she passed away, and it was due to COVID. I was like, dang, and she was supposed to be at my wedding, so it was tragic.
That
And
is, oh
then
man.
and then in 2017, one of the guys that he was a monitor, may he rest in peace. Also, Lawrence Sharp, he passed away.
Man,
Yeah,
a lot of people went.
yeah,
Wonder how you know who I always think about sometimes? Do you remember that old man named Lewis?
yeah.
He
I
used to
wonder
walk
how you
around
know.
selling Percocet.
Yeah,
It was awesome. I
yo,
used to love
that
him,
was
man.
funny.
He was a
Yeah,
he was a great guy. He was a cranky old man, but he had a very good soul. I could tell. He was cranky because
yeah,
life had not treated him the most fairest. But
exactly.
he had a great soul to him, and I remember hanging out with him all the time.
Yo, there was a Dominican lady, right? And she was cool, right?
Yeah.
And but the thing is, though, what actually happened? Okay, good evening, Pete.
Hello.
All right, brothers. Good evening. Good evening.
Nice to meet you.
Hold on, I'm
Yeah.
trying to raise the volume on this.
Sweet.
All right.
All right. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey.
All right,
My
my
name is Taek. Nice
brothers.
to meet you.
Blessings to everyone. Ush.
Yes,
Nice to
sir.
meet you too, brother. How y'all feeling?
Doing all
We're
right.
feeling great
Just
today.
catching up, talking about old times.
Yeah.
Martial arts is always the topic, bro. Either we're talking about our main city, which is San Pedro, or we're talking about martial arts and um prospect brilliance as far as people with talent, people with skill, and the difference in between. You know, the, earlier this morning, I was in a discussion with somebody who said that they were part of a McDojo, and I asked him the name of X McDojo, and he gave me a name that I know back in the '90s that place was a clown show. But the problem is this: I'm gonna conserve the name, but the problem is this: even if that place or McDojo is a clown show, after studying something for 20 years and practicing it, aren't you going to become a master of that?
Yeah, right.
So who's to say that the martial arts you're practicing isn't good enough or isn't efficient? 20 years later down the line, you're gonna be a master of bullcrap moves. They do have a common flow for it, so they work for you. So who's to
Yeah,
say?
that's a good point.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, man. Because you know what, that goes along with the same point that I was making to you, brother Don.
Yeah.
In that, yeah, man, like, yeah, see, just like our brother Pete said, uh, um, it doesn't matter what you train in. You know what I mean? Like whether you train in Taekwondo or karate or kung fu or jujitsu or whatever it is, once you do that same thing for 20, 30 years straight, and you're doing the same movements over and over and over again, if the time comes where you have to pull that movement out to defend yourself and protect your family, then you're gonna be able to pull
Solid.
that movement
It's
out.
gonna be solid.
Yeah, it's gonna
When
be
the
pretty
time comes
dope.
to pull that move, it's gonna be so solid. They're gonna be like, I didn't know he knew that because he never exposed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. Yeah, no, that's so
Yeah.
true, man. And so that's why I was trying to, brother Pete, I was trying to explain to our brother Don here that that it doesn't, even if the school is a McDojo, that
Hmm.
learning how to kick ass is not the end all be all. A lot of what we do in martial arts has a lot to do also with self improvement, with focus. It has a lot to do with community, right? All the friends and the people that you fall in love with while doing it. Yes,
Bonding.
yes, those connections that you make. It has a lot more to do with those things than it has to do with kicking ass. Because like I said, kicking ass, brother, man, like y'all, both of y'all know better than me. I live in Jersey, but y'all live in New York and stuff. But
I
like,
live in Philadelphia, by the way.
Live
Now.
in New
well,
York, bro.
Philly's pretty hard, man, right? Philly's pretty hard.
Yeah, it is.
And like,
Philly's
kick,
hardcore too.
yeah, man.
It
And
is.
kicking ass in the streets, that's not, that's different than martial arts. You know what I mean? So if you're doing martial arts only so you can learn how to kick ass, then you're missing the full objective. You're missing the full experience of what martial arts is supposed to be. Because like, yeah, like Pete said before, man. Let's say you know how to do some silly flipping move, right? Something that looks like it'll never work, right? But if you do
Right.
that for 20 years straight and you're mad good at it, right? And then you sneak up
When you
behind
finally
somebody
hit it,
because
it worked.
they were disrespecting your mother, or they were disrespecting your wife or something like that, and you do a backflip to their chin. Well, yeah, it might not work in a it might not work in a UFC cage, but it's gonna work at that moment when you need to use it.
Oh, facts.
It's not gonna work on a pro, but
Yeah.
it's gonna work on a
Yeah.
novice.
Yes, it's definitely gonna
Exactly.
work on a novice, man. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh God, bro.
Yes.
Oh,
Copy. I'm
Pete.
laughing.
Yo, Pete.
Yeah,
He's a veteran too, though.
copy. What branch?
I do Taekwondo, sir. I did Taekwondo for a better part of 30 years. And
Oh, he said veteran. I thought he meant soldier.
oh
That
well,
too.
I was a army veteran as well. I was in the army from
Understood.
2005 to 2009. And I just
Copy.
yeah, just
I
I
was in the,
love.
I was in the Corps for 9 years.
Oh,
It
nice.
was rough. It was rough, but we kick ass, bro. Like they teach
Yeah.
you to kick ass or get your ass kicked, either or.
That's
Right.
dope. Heck yeah,
Which
man.
was
Heck yeah.
another point. Which is another point I wanted to bring about certain dojos. Either you're at a real dojo or in McDojo, your first 3 belts, you're getting your ass kicked. Like, don't think in any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form, oh, I'm a white belt and I'm gonna Pinan Sokoyuchi you. You don't even know how to pronounce that yet. Like, you don't even know any of those things yet. You don't know what
What's
bare
up,
hand
Westies?
is, this side, that side, that side, this side, that. You don't know what none of that is yet.
Yes.
So white belt, blue belt, green belt, orange, depending on the system, the first 3 belts, don't expect oh man, I'm a karate master now. What belt are you?
Nah.
I'm a dirty white belt. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yep. That's
You
that's.
know,
Oh my goodness, man. You know, I laugh so much. Like sometimes I get, well, I get a little annoyed too. But like sometimes we get students like that, right? Like especially like the older students, like the adult students. You know, when they come in, you know, because they're adults and they're already kind of big headed, and you know, the neighborhood I teach them, you know, a lot of these folks are, you know, they're pretty well off. So you know, a lot of these adults when they sign up, they come in, you know, acting like they got this, right? Like it's gonna be a walk in the park for them or something, and you know, they get humbled pretty quickly, as Pete said.
Yeah,
They
I
get
mean,
humbled.
me personally, I'm like, yo, if I was to ever step up in the thing, I always try to do a bow of respect or anything like that because I know that with certain schools, with all schools, I actually come with humility. With humility, I don't
Yeah,
know, I don't know what it is or anything like that, but I always try to come with respect also because
yeah,
at the end of the day, I'm not going to go around and try to be big headed into something that I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
last
and
week,
yeah,
pardon me, Lee. Last week we spoke about key points to what people will find in a McDojo, or how you can pinpoint a McDojo and know for yourself. And
yeah,
Yeah,
one of the key points is the respect factor. If the
mm,
teacher, sensei, shifu, soke, whatever title they have, if they're not respecting their students, or they're on some abuse of power, oh, I could physically hit this child whenever I want because I'm their master. There's a problem
um,
there.
yeah,
There's a
that's a
problem there.
huge problem.
Teachers only test your what we call tightening of the muscles. Let's say if we put an example at this kata, sanching. And sanching, your muscles are being smacked
Yeah,
to see if you're holding that tensity, to make sure that you're tense in the right places, but you're flexing in the right places at the same time. So
yeah,
this hard, this soft, this hard. And when I go to places where I see that teachers will come out of nowhere and randomly kick a student, I'm like, bro, you're a brown belt. How are you kicking a white belt out of nowhere thinking that he's going to block that?
yeah.
You're kicking him with a kick that he doesn't even know yet. He hasn't even seen it on paper. Like, how you think he's going to block that?
Wow.
That's different. You know, that's like, all right, you don't respect your students, then, you know, how
Yeah.
you think they're going to respect you as a master later on in life? It goes
Yes.
both ways.
right. An-
Yes,
an-
sir.
Another another thing that I've seen, right? And I'm not a martial arts expert, but I'm glad that I'm talking to two of y'all. All right.
Amen.
One day, right? And they actually showed this in the McDojo, in McDojo life, but they also showed it like in other places. I guess the place was Turkey. Okay, so between both of your respective martial arts, right? And I'm just saying of stuff that you've seen and stuff that you have not seen. Now, it looked like that this place was either an MMA gym or anything because it looked like that these guys were belts. So what this guy did, which I think is, I guess a conditioning of the muscle, is that he actually has all his students in a line, and he punched their stomachs to see if they have strength in or anything like that, and
Man,
then
that's
they
messed
go
up.
and then they it's like how should I say like a foul line or something like that. So therefore, I'm just saying like within your both respective martial arts practices, I, like I just found that weird because some people they say that that's normal, and certain people say that it's not.
If I could speak first, Lee said what his discipline was. I forgot. I didn't get. I didn't, not that I forgot, but we were in conversation and I forgot per se to mention
It's
my discipline.
all
Um,
right.
since 5, I've been in Seido Karate.
Nice.
When I became a black belt in Seido, I followed my teacher's teacher into the father system of what my system is, and the father system is Kyokushin. In Kyokushin, it is normal for at the end of the session for the teacher to test the student's strength, not to put them through pain and trial and error, but to test their strength. You know, just brutally badgering, hazing, and or physically abusing of a disciple it goes against the moral conduct of what we believe in, that code of honor. You know, how can I honor myself as a teacher if I'm dishonoring my students by being physically abusive towards them? Discipline is one thing. Discipline I'll never hold back. If you did something wrong and I put you in push-up position for 2 minutes and you're sweating your ass off, well, did you learn your lesson?
Yes, sir.
I did. Are you tired? Yeah, well, I'm tired of calling your attention. You're going to be there for another minute. I'm putting that person through discipline. I'm not necessarily physically abusing them. I'm not putting my hands on them in any way. You know, so when I see dojos that out of nowhere, like I said, you know, I've seen training with bamboo. I've been through training with bamboo. I've been smacked with bamboo everywhere but my jewels, thank the Lord. All right? I've been smacked with bamboo around my neck, on my head, everywhere. It's full body armor training in Kyokushin. Kyokushin is hardcore karate.
Yeah, I've seen their fights.
It's the hardcore version of Ishin Ryu. And Ishin Ryu is hardcore as it is.
Right.
So when I talk about Okinawa being the birthplace of karate, I'm not talking about styles. I'm talking about schools. Some schools were tougher than others because of their traditions. Some schools were tougher than others because of the person that was the head of that school. If the head of the school is as hard as a rock, the students are going to be just as hard or harder. All right. And that's what makes, it doesn't make a perfect system, but it makes a good system, because people will follow in line with discipline to the point that they don't need to be corrected. They know how to correct themselves.
And
yeah, brother.
And Taek Lee, he's an expert in Taekwondo also.
Yeah, you said that.
Yes.
Yeah, man, Pete, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. I 100% agree with all the points that you made, because it's just so true, right? Like, when I think of being a master, right? Like I'm a 5th degree master. I'm a 5th dan master in Taekwondo. And when I think about being a master,
you, those are my wishes. I bless you. I wish to be a Godan. I bless you for that. I'm a 2-time black belt in the Marine Corps. I'm a black belt Seido. I'm a black belt in Kyokushin. I'm a green belt in Taekwondo. And I'm a brown belt in Judo Jiu-Jitsu. I want to be a 5th dan, but it takes so much time concentrating on one thing to reach that. So much studies.
But nah, man. Either way, respect, man. You obviously have a lot of experience that is more than comparable to mine. So that's pretty dope, man. But I was just saying, like, when I think about being a master, I think about that scene in Rise of the Skywalker, right? I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I remember at the end of that movie, Yoda's talking to Luke, and he says something that was so pertinent to a journey, to anybody's journey as a martial arts master. And he says to Luke, he says, you are only what your students grow beyond.
Wow.
So like, you know, when I hear that quote, it really moves me, because and it teaches me to value and to cherish, not just teach, but also to cherish and to value my students, these little boys and girls that are one day going to grow up to be men and women. And it is my responsibility to make sure that they become the best that they can become. And you can't do that through abuse. You know, you can't do that through abuse of power and through making yourself look big so that they could feel small. You know, like that is definitely against the way of the true martial artist. And if you really consider yourself a master, then it should be your wish, your desire that your students surpass you. you know, and because, you know, that's what determines your value. You know, I've been teaching kids for about 15 years now, and you know, I love every single one of them. You know, like I would, you know, some of these kids, man, I would literally jump in front of a car and die for.
They're
You know,
your kids.
yeah, I
You're
love
their
them. I
dojo
love
dad.
them.
It's real. It's
Yes,
that real.
yes, it really is, man. And you
It
know,
really is.
they're everything to me. And you know, I just want to see them become the greatest. And you know, the kids, they're always laughing. You know, I always tell them, you know, one day you're gonna be stronger than me. And they, you know, oh, that's no way. You're Master Lee. How are we gonna be stronger than you? And I'm like, no, no, no. You must become better than me, because if you do not, then I have failed. You know, for
Then I have
me,
failed as a master, correct?
yes, yes. If my students are not better than me, and I'm not talking about just in the art, right? I'm talking about in life. Like I want to see my students become doctors and professors and scientists and, you know, warriors and all the. I want to see them become successful in life, because I really want them to understand that, you know, I dedicated my life to teaching my art so that I could, you know, be a light to other people. And
Us.
Yes.
I
and so
respect that.
so
Us.
100% what Pete said was right, man. You can't abuse your students, man. That's terrible.
Mhm.
That's something that cannot be acceptable in a martial arts environment. You know, it that
It's
creates,
McDojoish.
yes, that creates hateful, bitter, and unstable people, rather than creating people that know how to have honor and loyalty and respect for others and respect for life and love, you know, even love, a love for each other. You know, like these are values that we must teach our students, so that they understand that, you know, we're not there on the mat sweating our butts off and punching and kicking each other because we're trying to become some badass. You know, we're doing that because we want to understand the nature of conflict, so that we can improve ourselves, and so that we can learn how to master that nature, so that you know, we can create more peace in our life and around us. You know, and
Us.
that's really what martial arts is supposed to be about, man. And you know, I respect everybody, man. Like me, I don't, I never, I no matter what, I try to not ever be in a fight um outside of a taekwondo ring, you know, because I know how dangerous a fight can be.
Oh, yeah.
I know anybody can do the worst to me, right? Like I know, no matter how strong I am, no matter how fast I am, and no matter how clever I am, I know that if it's my day, then it's gonna be my day. So you
Right.
you know,
Not,
and you know,
not
like,
even that though, Ali. Not
yeah,
even that. Let's put it in a different possible scenario, bro. You know what you know. They
yeah,
don't. You're
yeah,
gonna kick them in a pressure point, and they're not gonna recover from it. And then your
yeah,
conscience is gonna bother you. You think you're gonna be a
yes,
teacher after that?
yes, yes,
Yeah, bro, that's the problem. And like, I'm gonna make a footnote on what you were saying earlier. If you don't teach your students with that quality, respect, and nourishment, when they grow up to be teachers and masters, it's gonna reflect on you. If they're
yeah,
masters of abuse, it's because you abused them. If they're
yes,
masters of serenity, it's because they learned it from you.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. Oh my goodness, that is spot on, man. And yeah, for sure. I would never be able to live with myself if I hurt somebody, because I understand, because you know, I was a soldier too, man. And I understand
Boy, I'm a
real,
Marine. I know how to hurt something, and I
yeah,
don't want to. That's why I'm teaching kids
exactly,
how to do it.
because we know what violence really looks like, you know, and what it can do to people and to
It looks
families.
red, it looks red, and it looks painful.
Yes, yes,
So yeah, it looks black and blue as well sometimes.
yeah,
Sometimes it's not always red.
that's right, that's right.
So unless you
And
catch
but
unless you catch a staph infection on a mat, and then that looks bubbly. That's different, you
but
know.
but
But
but you know
go
what?
ahead.
It not only does it black and blue and red, but sometimes it looks like your mother or your wife or your daughter or your son crying because
Bro,
they got back home and they found out that you got into some scuffle on the subway, but this guy pulls out a gun and kills you, right? Like, so, you know, all these kind of things, or vice versa. What if you're the one that ended up hurting this guy so much that you put him into the grave, and
And
then
you lose your hero status.
later on you find out that this man actually had a wife and 2 kids, and he was actually a
Yeah.
pretty damn good father, and you
You
ended
lose
up
your hero status. It hurts.
yes,
It'll
yes.
mess with you. It'll mess with your spirit because you learned the way of Bushido, and all of a sudden you became a Bushido. You know?
Yo,
So
Dad.
yeah,
That's
bro,
pretty funny.
martial arts is my heart, bro. Like my heart pumps on martial arts. And
Yeah,
I love music. I'm a creator of music. You know, I've been in the military. I've been in the gangs and all that. But martial arts is my heart. Like it
man.
pumps my life. Without martial arts, I wouldn't be alive right now.
Yeah,
Literally,
yeah.
literally, I wouldn't be alive. I've been.
Wow.
People have tried to hit me with bottles to the head, and I've gotten close to getting hit to my shoulder. You know, people try
Wow.
to shank me to my neck with a broken glass, and it's hitting me in the
Damn.
arm. You know, I've learned how to move, dodge, block in certain ways. It's like martial arts is martial arts is my first instinct, not my second instinct.
Mhm.
How
Yeah.
everybody's
Mm.
first instinct is survival and try to live. No, my first instinct is martial arts. My second instinct is survival.
Yes.
Oh wow. Wow.
Wow. That's amazing, man. No, that's really beautiful, man. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, man.
Man, this is actually really fun, man. If y'all are willing, I wouldn't mind doing this regularly, man. Coming together and
Yeah.
just talking
A
with you
matter.
guys about.
A matter of fact, this is what I'm trying. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. You know, because to me, I'm gonna try to make this every Wednesday,
Yeah,
and you know, we're gonna actually talk about different stuff. Like for example,
let's do it.
you know, like I want to actually make something next week when we're actually talking about okay, you know, well, we talk about the McDojos now, right?
Yes.
So I want to try to actually invite maybe more experts, so therefore we could actually talk about more stuff because so therefore we could actually learn from each other.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds
That's
good,
what it is.
man.
That's what it is. I personally, because I'm not MMA per se, but because my life background is MMA, I don't shy down on any institute or any dojo association. I shy down more on the teacher if they're not teaching right. I don't shy
Yeah.
down on the student because the student doesn't know. Like how
Right.
do I tell a blue belt, oh, you're supposed to do this if that's a green belt thing? I can't do that.
Mm.
So I shy down on teachers that they know the syllabus because obviously they're a master of it and they're
All
not
right.
teaching it correctly.
Mm.
You know,
Mm,
earlier I spoke about a McDojo that nowadays, if you say that name of that dojo, it's very popular. It's very
mm,
famous. It's very professional. They got
Right.
better. Why did they get better? Because, like I said, even if you're practicing McGarbage for 20 years, after 20 years, you're going to be a pro.
yeah.
Right.
It might be a pro at garbage, but you're still a pro. A
Yeah.
novice comes to
Yeah.
you and you're going to hit him with the trash bag move, what we call the bread and butter move. You're going to hit him with the trash bag move, and you're going to get them because they don't know what the heck they're doing, but you do.
Mm,
Right.
that's true.
Another thing that that before you came in, uh, Tyke was actually talking about the business aspect of martial arts schools.
Okay.
So what's your how should I say your philosophy about that, Pete?
Me, um,
Yeah.
when it comes to the dojo being a business, it's first of all, I don't necessarily look at it as a business, even though it's bringing money per se. You know, if I do look at it as a business, I'm looking at it as a family business because we're all one as a team. You know, if one member of the team is missing or at fault, the whole team is going to feel it. So I don't ever want to. have anyone in my team or at my school feel like they're here by the obligation of what they're paying, or they're obligated to pay a certain amount because if not, they're going to receive less lessons, or they're not going to learn what they're aimed to learn.
Mm.
I've always been the one to, let's say when I was giving lessons in DR at one point for like a year, and there were parents that told me, "Oh, I don't have the money to pay you this week," and I said, "I wasn't asking for it. Don't worry about it." And
Wow.
they'll be like, "Oh, thank you. God
Wow.
bless your heart." And it's like, well, it's not about, God just blessing me. It's about how your child is going to bless me later when he reaches the level that I'm teaching him. Like
Mm.
that's a better
Wow.
fulfillment for me. That is a debt paid in full, not just to me, but the person who taught me and the person who taught him and the person who taught him and etc.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
I was trying to explain to Don before that unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't share that same attitude, like a lot of people, when they open up schools, they have to, they basically open up the school so they can make ends meet, right? So
Strictly
that they could,
business.
yeah, exactly. So they could, pay their bills and they could get by, and they could also drive nice cars and have nice things, right? Like, a lot of people that are in this industry, they do it for that specific purpose. And I was just trying to explain to Don that, because that business aspect is mixed in to the martial arts aspect, oftentimes those things can contradict each other or sort of conflict with each other. And that, even in a school, like going back to what we were saying about Monk Dojos before, even in a school that may be more about business and less about martial arts, you can still get a martial arts experience, because martial arts experience is not it's not limited to just knowing how to kick ass, right? It's the martial arts experience is a lot of things. So even in schools
100%.
that might be more business centric and less martial arts centric, even in those schools you can still get that martial arts experience, and it's really just up to you what kind of experience you want. If you want that super hardcore experience, then you're going to have to find that school that's going to, have that option for you to have that super hardcore experience. But if you just want to, if you're a man that works a lot and, you got bills to pay and all this kind of stuff, and you don't have that much time throughout the week to train, you only have maybe 2 or 3 days per week to train, then, those kind of schools that might be a little bit more business centric won't be so bad for you, right? Because, 2, 3 times a week, even 2, 3 times a week, you do that for 10 years, 15 years, you're going to get pretty solid at it. You're not going to be bad at that art, that thing that you're doing. So, not to get too wrapped up on, that kind of stuff, just,
I would hope
spread the
not after
love.
10 years. I would hope
Okay.
not after 10 years.
Okay. Okay. There's something that I'm seeing, right? And I'm thinking that that Take and Pete, y'all could help each other out, right? And something.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking, just brainstorming.
Mhm.
Okay. To a little bit earlier before you came, Pete. Me and Take were talking about the systems and everything like that because he's been practicing Taekwondo for a long time. And you just mentioned to me that you have a green belt in Taekwondo also, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so all right. So do you know your parents' association that you got your green belt from?
I don't. It was in DR, and it was
Okay,
when I was like 8. Between 8 and 12 was when I practiced Taekwondo. Because I
Mhm.
was in
oh,
DR. I was in DR, and my karate dojo was here in New York on 100 and Broadway. So when I
okay,
was in DR, I couldn't practice karate, even though they had a karate person there, which I kindly told that person that I wasn't going to disrespect my dojo or disrespect my teacher. So he said,
Mhm.
well, just so that you could supplement so you don't lose what you already know, at least practice Taekwondo. So
oh,
I
okay,
said, you know what? That's not bad. I'll do it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That way, if I when I do go back to my dojo and I do something that's Taekwondo, my teacher will be able to identify and tell me, oh, listen, I didn't teach you that. Oh, I was in Taekwondo for this an amount of time. Oh, okay, well, remember this is karate. The block is at this length, and we kick up to here, not up to there. Oh, okay, got it. Because
Okay.
everything is a certain discipline. All curriculums of karate, taekwondo, hapkido, anything martial arts based, the combination of your feet and your hands is gonna break down and boil down to the same, except the technical stuff.
Mm.
The technical stuff is gonna be slightly different because you have different styles of execution. Did you chamber? Did you not chamber? Was it a straight kick? Was it a side kick? Was it over the moon? Was it under the moon? Was it around the moon? Was it around the other way? It's all different because there's different ways of practicing it to perfect it. That's all it is.
All right.
Mm.
So therefore, this is what I was thinking. All right, and I know that you've gotten your green belt in Taekwondo. So,
It was fun.
m-
I got my
yeah.
ass beat though. I'll tell you that right now.
Hey man, but you know what it is though? You know what it is, brother Pete, man? DR has some of the best taekwondo in the world, man.
I
You know, like
appreciate you, brother.
no, I'm not even saying that just to like flatter people from DR, man. Like straight up, dude,
It's
DR
aggressive,
fighters
man.
are all like in a taekwondo tournament. Like some of the best fighters come from South American countries like DR, Mexico,
Oh yeah.
a lot of people from Puerto Rico are mad good. Well, the
Oh,
Mexican guys are
yo,
they're ridiculous. They're so
yo,
good.
yo, yo,
But
talking about that, I remembered something. Maybe you might know this master Tyke. All right. Now, back in the day when I used to live up in Jersey City, right? Like the main street, because I used to live up on Zabriskie and everything. There was a Taekwondo master, right? You could tell that he was very rigid in his style and everything like that.
mm,
I forgot his name, but I know that
If it's
that
if
injured
it's the guy,
that
if it's sorry, but if it's the guy that brought Taekwondo to America, it was Duck's son.
yeah. Oh dang, how'd you know that, man?
I've been around the block, bro. I've been around the block.
That's dope, man.
no
Yeah,
no
it
but
was Duck
no,
Son.
yeah but this guy, he is Korean, but I forgot his name.
I
He
think I know who you're
actually
talking about.
he actually taught, like, I guess it was the Chilean or Argentinian police
You-
at a
You're still
time when he was in
you're still
South America.
you're still talking about Duck's son, bro.
Duck son.
That's him. You're talking
Yeah,
about Duck's son still. He's the
yeah.
only person that I know as far as any style of martial arts that's from a certain country and went to a different country to train police. That's the only person I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, and I think it was Duck Son because the guy that you're talking about, Don, is he was the one that trained this dude I know named Juan Moreno. And Juan Moreno is a US athlete. He's a US Taekwondo Olympic bronze medalist.
Awesome.
And he also had a friend named Herb Perez. That was a gold medalist in Taekwondo. I think it was 99. I don't remember the exact date, but he was like a gold medalist in Taekwondo. And yeah, that dude, the dude you're talking about, Don, man, he trained up a lot of hard boys, man. A lot of hard boys.
Whew.
Because that was
Oh,
back when. Because right now
no.
Jersey City's all right, right? Like it's a nice city right now. But back then, man, Jersey City was the hood.
Yeah.
It
No.
was the
Jersey is
No.
hood,
No.
nice.
man.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, matter of fact, I found this. I found a school though. Is the establishment is called Jang Star Taekwondo.
Okay, Jankstar. Well, I mean that.
No, then that's different.
Yeah. Yeah, that is different.
Yeah, it's different. That might not be the same guy. The guy I'm talking about, he's a real old dude now.
Yeah,
He's really
it
old.
still might be under Duck's son though. But yeah,
Yeah, and all I know is that he was the original coach of those two superstar taekwondo athletes, and their story was amazing because those two guys that I told you about, Juan Moreno and Herb Perez, They used to literally live out of their car so that they could go into training the next day and train. What those guys would do, man, is they had no job, right? All they wanted to do was train Taekwondo. So what they would do is they would work for his school and they would teach all the classes, and they would wake up in the morning, they would come out of their car, brush their teeth, whatever. They would train for like 3 hours, and then they would teach all the classes. And then at the end of the night, they would train another 2 to 3 hours.
Discipline and sacrifice.
Yeah. And then they would go back into their car and take go to bed.
Super masters. Whew.
Yeah, those guys were G's, man.
People you do not want to get kicked by.
No.
A person that trains 14 hours a day, literally, nah, bro. You don't want to get kicked by a person like that.
No,
especially if they say they're in Taekwondo. You definitely don't want to get kicked by anybody that's in Taekwondo anyway.
Nah, man. Karate guys they're tough too, man. Like I've seen those Kyokushin fights, man. Those fights are so hardcore.
Our punches are brutal. Every punch is a knockout. We don't believe in 2-hit combo, 3-hit combo. We don't believe in that.
No, man.
Every strike is you're out of here.
There's so much blood in every fight too, man. I watched some of those fights online, and those fights are nice, man. But they have so much respect for each other. Oh, right. Like after the fight is over, and their uniforms are.
We're brothers. We're family. Yeah. We shed blood, and it's like we're shedding each other's blood. So it hurts us that we're fighting each other, but we do it with the honor of you're my brother. We're family. After this, we're gonna go drink a beer or have a Coca-Cola or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Dude.
But the master that actually had that school though. Maybe that's what I'm saying, because around your circles, Tate. The master's name Soon Kil Jang.
Yeah, no, that's somebody else. I know who that is too. So like that dude's schools, right? Like that dude's schools is an example of what I was telling you about before with the Mac dojos and stuff. Like his schools are really good, but if you want to like compete, if you want to like go into a ring and fight like really hard opponents and stuff, then his schools might not be the best fit. Those schools are way more traditional, and they're more about, like I said, the community aspect, the self-improvement, but you're still learning martial arts. You're still doing Taekwondo. You're still doing all that kind of stuff. You're still learning all the techniques, but you're not like Juan Moreno and Herb Perez that are living out of their cars training 6 hours a day, right? You're not that, right?
It's not Taekwondo or Olympic Taekwondo. It's actually life discipline Taekwondo.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's pretty much, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. I know most karate schools, from what I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Pete, but I know that karate schools, it's hard to find one that's like not hardcore, man. A lot of karate schools out there are pretty hardcore, man. I've been to some of them, and like a lot of karate schools in the United States, when they spar, they still don't even wear like safety equipment. And they're
that's definitely a traditional school. Sports schools, they want to wear equipment for everything. Why are you wearing hand pads if you're doing push-ups?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Oh no, because we're about to spar. No, you put it on when you're about to spar, not doing push-ups.
Yeah. That's true.
That's an immediate red flag for me. I'm like, oh, McDojo.
Yep, that's a McDojo.
Put the paddings on. Let's go do some push-ups. You're supposed to do the push-ups before the padding. What are you doing? Who does that?
So but hey, listen, brothers, man, I'm so sorry for cutting y'all off, man. I gotta roll. I gotta I'm a man of God. I'm a Christian. And,
Amen. As well.
Yeah,
I'm a chaplain for the Marine Corps, actually.
No, really?
I'm gonna put the camera back on and show you my badge. Let me go get it from my room. I'll be right back.
I believe you. But oh man, that's amazing, dude. What I was saying was that like I'm about to become a missionary, Don.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go to Nepal soon in August.
Oh wow.
And I'm gonna be living there for a year.
Oh, okay.
and I'm going to be doing the Lord's work there. So you know, I've been deep into preparations for my missions, and I'm trying to get the entire Bible read by the summer. So
All right.
I've been hardcore
Well,
studying these days, man. But dude, it's an honor and a privilege to be
Don't go
invited by
nowhere
you,
yet.
brother.
Don't go
Oh
nowhere yet.
yeah, no doubt, man.
I got you.
Um,
Give me a few seconds. I got it right here.
oh, that's amazing, man.
About to show you all three of my badges.
Heck yeah.
All right.
But I'm just saying, man, Don, it was an honor and a privilege to be here today and to hang out with you guys and get to know y'all.
it,
Brother
yep.
Pete, man,
Of
I
course, brother.
respect you, man. And from martial artist
Likewise,
to
brother.
martial artist, man, it has been a pleasure to meet you and talk with you and just hang out with you and get to know you, brother.
Yes, sir. I
Uh,
look forward to
Yes,
locking
sir.
hands one day.
yeah. And hey,
Uh,
man,
you, you
may
know what?
peace and
If I
grace be upon you, boys,
Amen.
gentlemen.
exactly.
But
All right. So let's
yeah,
see if the
let's see
light
that
will
app.
show you. This is my first lieutenant badge as a chaplain.
Oh man, you were a chaplain.
This is my previously just newly promoted to captain. It says it right here, captain,
Nice. Wow.
Wow.
and then it says U.S. chaplain, U.S. Marine chaplain, USM chaplain.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Man.
And this
All
is
I know
my
is the privates must have loved you.
safety chaplain badge for New York State.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Man of God. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Man. Amen. Praise the Lord.
Amen.
Praise the
So
Lord.
yeah, man, like I said, been there, done that, bro. I've been a part of the street, I've been a part of the church, I've been a part of the military, I've been a part of the dojo. I've been a Renaissance man. I've been around,
Praise
and I know
God.
what I like. And what I
Yep.
like is I like the Lord, I like my dojo, and I like my community, man. I try to uplift my community the best I can.
Amen. Amen. Heck yeah, man. Oh man, dude, you living a life of righteousness, my brother, man. May you continue to be encouraged and blessed by the Lord, and may grace and peace just shine upon you abundantly, my brothers. Thank you so much for
Amen.
having me here today. Thank you, and it was great to meet you guys. And yes, please, Don. You know, anytime you have these meetings, I can't promise I'm going to make it to all of them, but
Right.
you know, I would love to. I would love to come by and just always hang out with you guys and stuff, man. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for being so welcoming, Pete and
Blessings,
Don,
brother.
and
Anytime.
may peace be upon you, gentlemen. I'll talk
And
to you
peace
again
be
Amen.
soon.
upon you, Tate.
Have a great
Blessings
evening, guys.
blessings to you
You
and yours,
too.
your dojo, your
Blessings to
tribe, your
you.
congregation.
Blessings,
Everybody
sir.
be blessed.
Blessings on your mission too, Tate.
Thank
Tate.
you, thank you, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. See, here. Let me show you guys. I'm about to start my Bible reading for today. I'm starting on First Kings,
Okay.
chapter 13, and you know, I'm trying to get it done, man. I'm trying to finish the Bible by the summertime, by August. I'm hoping that I get all the way to the end, man, because you know I love the Lord. You know, the Lord, you know, I messed up a lot, man. I went against His commands and I sinned against Him so many times. But the Lord,
It
He still
happened.
loves me, and
Amen.
He still vouches for
Amen.
me, and He still protects me, man,
Amen.
and He still loves me. So I'm gonna do my best to return the favor, and I'm gonna dedicate my life to Him. So yeah, guys, thank you so much, man. It's a
The
pleasure meeting y'all,
purpose,
Thank
man.
the
you.
Thank you.
purpose that the purpose that the Lord has for you goes beyond your own understanding. The purpose He has for you goes beyond your moral value of if you sin or don't. All right.
Yes,
This
sir.
is what I try to tell people this a lot. The purpose of becoming a Christian is not just so that you can see Christ. It's so that
Mm,
you can walk in His footsteps,
yes, sir.
perfecting your own life the way He was perfect.
Mm,
All right. But with that account in mind, He already knows that we're going to commit mistakes. It's not
mm,
about the mistakes, it's about building the relationship, building a foundation to where you reach that perfect goal. His
amen.
purpose with you is not going to change just because you slip or because, oh, I fell. He doesn't care how many times you fall. He cares how many times you get up. God bless you, brother.
Amen.
God
God
bless
bless,
you.
man. Thank you, guys. You guys have
Thank
a
you.
great evening, and I hope you guys have much more great conversations with each other.
We
So
We
will. We
will.
will.
I'll see
Blessings.
y'all. Good night.
See y'all. Good night.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah. This was actually great, Pete.
That was a good kid right there. I felt his what we call in martial arts martial energy, which
Yeah.
is like his chi. I felt his
Hmm.
chi. I'm like, all right, this guy he's legit. That's how real martial artists know who's a real martial artist or not. Like, show me your
Yeah.
chi. Like, let me feel
Hmm.
your chi without asking you to show me your chi.
Oh, okay. But okay. So talking about chi, right? In Japan, they call it ki also, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Listen,
So
they call it different names in different parts of the world. Some people
all
call it
right.
chi, some call it nen, some call it rin, some call it en, some call it
Hmm.
e, some call it it's different pronunciations per se. But at the
All
end of the
right.
day, it still boils down to the same. It's the core energy of your body that flows from your core energy, from the middle
Hmm.
of you, and it flows out. And if you know how to use it properly, that punch just went from a 16-pound punch to a 36-pound punch.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I saw
Mm.
I saw I saw you send me the invite for the studio, because you normally send me the invite for the program, a day before. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
cool. So I guess we're gonna have the martial arts thing tomorrow, Thursday. And then I see the invite to the studio. I'm like, oh, that looks like today. Let me get ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, oh,
Yeah.
gotta
Because
get ready.
yeah. Because I was like, you know what? It's this is like one of my goals. Because I was like, since you and I we have good conversations and everything like that,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to try to at least invite one of my other friends. I
Cool.
mean, to the conversation also. So I'm actually going to try to coordinate that like around the weekend and everything like that
Right.
to see what's up. I'm going to try to talk to DJ Mafa's teacher and you, so therefore at least we could actually do a show on Friday about
Cool.
the urban movement. So stay tuned for that, Brian. I'm gonna and I got the link ready and everything like that. I'll send it to your WhatsApp. I'm gonna try to send it to the maestro also, so therefore we could actually talk about the good old times as far as music in
Cool.
San Pedro.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. So in recent news, I got promoted, and the badges came in the mail, and I'm very proud that I was able to reach this certain goal. It's something
yeah,
that I wanted to accomplish while on the field, but it goes to show me that not everything happens on the field. Sometimes the
right,
battlefield is the street. Sometimes the battlefield is just the mind. So, you know,
right.
I thank God that I was able to do this, and I thank him again for letting me be alive to see it.
Amen. Oh,
And
and other news, sadly, it looks like that this video has been circulating since yesterday of a tragic incident that happened,
where?
and I just and in Consuelo.
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah. Well, okay. On Instagram they showed two men who were angry and they actually got into to a machete
Heated
fight,
argument.
which actually played out on. on video camera and was shown on Instagram.
Okay.
And it looks like that both of those men they actually hurt each other. So they show the pictures, which is actually gruesome on what a machete could do and everything like that. So and it happened right in Consuelo. So
Well,
it looked
I'm
like
from San Pedro.
so
You know that, bro. I mean, I've seen it. I know, been there, done that. It's gruesome. It's not nice.
yeah, it's
You
not.
know, there's been times I've been at the hospital of San Pedro, and and just because you're at the hospital, when people pass through emergency room, you don't know what you're gonna expect to see. Saying it's a guy getting stitches,
Yeah, yeah,
his whole
yeah,
arm
yeah,
got. Whew.
yes, yes, but yeah, especially in Moose and in the hospital Musa. Whew,
Yeah, Doctor Antonio Musa. That's right there by Barrio Mexico. That's where I lived at.
yeah, I remember when my cousin got hurt with when I was a little kid when she got hurt in a motorcycle and we had to go there. I was like, Dad, and you saw people there and everything like that, and that was like when I was like maybe 5 or 6 or something like that.
Wow. I'm gonna let
Yeah.
you in on something. There was a time where I saw myself homeless in San Pedro, and it was so
Hmm.
dang hot. I would go into the Musa and lock myself in a closet it had like a big sponge, and I would lay down on that big sponge, and I would fall asleep on that sponge. Wake up at 6:30 in the morning and be out.
Wow.
So there was a time where I was sleeping in the Doctor Antonio Musa hospital for like maybe a month or two, and
All
never got
right.
seen, never got caught. Nobody suspected a dang thing.
Wow.
Talk about
Wow.
God being with you, man. Like, oh, don't worry, my son, I'm right here.
Yeah.
So I was telling Lee, like, yeah, you may have done this or this and that, but what you do as a human doesn't affect the purpose that the Lord has for you. He still
Yeah.
wants you. He still wants you to learn what he wants you to learn, and he still wants you to do what you need to do, which is a part of the Grand Commission. Letting everybody know about the Lord. Not everybody's going to accept, but that's not your job for them to accept. It's your job to let them know that the Lord is good and that the Lord has
Right.
has their back. It's up to them if they want to believe or not.
Exactly.
Your purpose with the Lord will never change just because you committed a sin, or because I messed up, or because I'm broke, or because I'm frustrated, or because the Lord does not care about none of that. His
Right.
communication of purpose with you, of bonding with you, building a relationship with you it's a more grand scheme than you being human and committing human error mistakes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as believers, there's one thing that has always bothered me, and I'm gonna tell you why. All right. In both movies that we know of that depicts Moses as the Moses when he actually is the leader that actually takes the Israelites out of Egypt, right?
Hmm.
One thing which
Can I
always
correct
alarmed.
something though? Can I correct
Yeah,
something? A lot of us
sure.
tend to say Israelite, but all the sons of Israel, that the sons of Israel, that goes for the whole world. All right,
Yeah,
because he's the father of nations. The whole world is Israelite. The
right,
problem with it now is that when we think Israelite, we think people that are from the government of Israel, which is very different because Israel didn't become a government until a couple of hundred years ago, even though Israel's been around for tens of thousands of years.
right. So no, but I was talking about as far as Moses, because
So,
I know that Moses
right,
was the
right.
tribe of Levi.
So this is
So,
my correction. This is my correction. My
all
correction
right,
is instead of us saying Israelites, we need to say
right.
Hebrews.
Hebrews. Okay,
Yes, because no matter what tribe they were from, they were all Hebrews before they became whatever in Jerusalem and descendants from Israel and all that. They were
Right.
they were all Hebrews, all descendants
Because
of the yeah.
because they say that when Abram went up and crossed, I guess I'm not paraphrasing. So
Don't worry, I'll correct you
Lord,
if need so.
yeah, when Abraham, I guess, left Shinar, Abram and Sarai, that's when he became Abraham,
Right,
and his wife Sarai became Sarah.
right.
So they say Hebrew means to cross over. Now maybe you could correct me on that.
I mean, Hebrew to us, meant the people, the first people that spoke Aramaic and Hebrew language. You
All
know,
right.
some Samaritans, or what we believe is Samaria or Mesopotamia and all that. We still believe that those were descendants of original Hebrews, not just Africa, not just Akupulan. Oh, we're from Africa. But what are you? Are
Yeah.
you African or are you Hebrew? Because it's not
Mm,
necessarily crossing over a, a country border or crossing over a race. There is no race when the beginning of mankind started. There was no race. Everyone was just one.
right.
So the
Yeah.
children of the sun, the children blessed by the sun, were known as Hebrews, or and they talk about Moses' wife, who was a Sunamite, and she was very, very, very dark skinned, super African, super Hebrew, and they
Yes.
criticized him over her because they were slightly lighter because they were people of the mountain. So they were
Right.
slightly lighter than the people that were sun-kissed on the field.
Right.
So it's crazy. But they're all Hebrews at the end of the day. They were all Hebrews.
Exactly. Exactly. The point that I was trying to make, right?
Carry on.
In the movie with Charleston Heston, right?
Yeah.
And the movie with Christian Bale. Now, there's something that they have that they have shown which actually contradicts the Bible. Do you know what that is?
I'm listening.
All right. So in the Ten Commandments, the
The
movie with
old ones,
Charleston
right?
Heston,
Yeah, the
the
old
old
one.
one, yes. They showed the part when the Hebrews when they crossed the Red Sea, right? And when Pharaoh and his army go and try to chase the Hebrews from the Red Sea and everything, and they showed that the waves came and they destroyed the army of Pharaoh.
Right.
In the Bible, it says that Pharaoh got destroyed too. But in the Ten Commandments, they showed that the Pharaoh lived. And then
That,
and then
yeah,
and then
that's
in
a
the Christian
contradiction.
and then in the Christian Bale movie, they showed that the Pharaoh lived also.
Yeah, that's definitely a fail in the movie. And the Charlton Heston old school, they made it seem like the Pharaoh was just standing on the side and sending his army towards the Red Sea to get Moses and to get the Hebrews. And in the midst of them finishing crossing and the waters closed, it looks like it's just the Pharaoh's army while the Pharaoh's on the other side of the Jordan just chilling, like, oh, so they're dead. But in actuality, like you just said, the Bible says what we know of ancient times, all kings or leaders were in the front of their army, leading the army, not behind the army. That's something that today's leadership does.
Mm,
So yes, in ancient leadership, yeah, that man was in front. So when the waters closed, they closed on him and all his top generals, because all the top generals roll next to the pharaoh.
yes.
So yeah, it messed up Egypt's whole system. when those waters closed. Because anybody who was in power that was close to the king was there next to the king to get Moses and the Hebrews. He didn't stay behind. He wasn't chilling next to the water to see what was going to happen. He was angry. He was furious. He wanted Moses' heart. Forget his head. He wanted his heart. He wanted to kill him himself. Like, you
Right.
tricked me. And like, you tricked me into letting these people go. No, we didn't trick you. It was about time you let them go because more plagues were coming if you didn't. It would have been
Right.
the 21 plagues of the Pharaoh, not 10.
Right.
Like, if God knows when to stop. Who tells the Almighty when to stop, bro?
Exactly. Nobody.
Nobody. Let the Pharaoh keep saying no. It would have been the 21 plagues.
Mm. Yep.
Yo, for real. Let's think about that.
Yep.
I was like, oh, God's like, he's still being tough. Oh, okay. Let me amp it up a little bit. Let me set the
Yeah.
record straight one more time.
Hmm.
Now it's raining Elmer's glue. Everything's stuck.
Right.
Yo, like, if God don't play, bro. I don't know why people think that God is some silly toy or a myth. God's not a myth. God is not a mythology. God is not just a neighborhood story or story that we tell villagers. It's not just an ancestor's fable. God is almighty. He's right there and he's looking and he
Yep.
loves us. Even if we don't
Hmm.
love him, he loves us because he
Yes.
created us. He loved us first.
Yes.
It's the only reason why we can love him.
Amen.
For real.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to close
Yes,
I
sir.
have to go to work early in the morning.
I'll
Well, it
be
was
up at
nice talking to you,
5:30.
Pete.
I bet I'll
Yo,
be yeah.
that's the time I leave. I'll be up at 3, so you know how
I'll
it
be up
is.
at 5:30 to make sure these kids get ready for school and all that. You know how that goes.
Yeah,
Fatherhood is a different type of hood.
exactly.
All right, brother. Well, always a pleasure talking to you. God bless you, the family. God bless the listeners, the followers, the sharers, the commentators. God bless the people that follow Lee. God bless the people that follow my brother Robles. God bless all of my followers as well. And may we all see a better day tomorrow and brighter
Amen.
futures ahead. Amen.
Amen.
Us.
Thank you. Oof.
Thank you, brother. It's always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure, Pete.
All right.
All right. Well, I like how this segment came out. Tune in for Wednesday. We're going to actually have another open topics talking about the martial arts. I'll think of the core topic that we're going to talk about. But until then, stay safe and stay blessed.